we decided yesterday was that if we're making 2 different sessions in theory, I will make you too tired from the head, because it's too much. So today, topic, coach, educator. What does it mean? What could it be? I'm going to explain it. Okay. The grassroots activities, which FIFA is doing, is one of the major things. But grassroots doesn't necessarily mean it's little children. You also have grassroots at adult level. Sometimes even lots of grassroots sessions up to, well, I wouldn't say the top professional level, but the medium professional level. You will have lots of exercises which involving around grassroots. Okay. Okay, now if you're looking at this one, the focus on a coach educator obviously would be on teaching or coaching young kids, then already ready football players. Security, new experience, they need to be acknowledged, show responsibility, need to play, need to socialize, need to move. All those things I also can actually project on adults. I mean security. Security could mean for a child that it feels safe, it feels in a stable environment. It could mean for a player, for a professional player, that he has enough money to feed his family. So he goes training, he fulfills his job, and he has his security. By the end of the month, he has his wage, he has enough money to provide his, depends on the culture, his parents, his children, his wife, whatever. Need for new experiences. Same thing again, means for the kids, if you never have done something before, something completely new, it kind of like enlarges your mental horizon. For a professional player, the player maybe becomes technically better, but he gets very bored. And he's losing the enjoyment of football. I'll give you a very good example. I do it together with Mr. Joseph. Now, imagine now, me and Mr. Joseph are very good friends. And every day, I give him a present. But every day, I want to give him a piece of chocolate. Okay? Every day. So, how could I make it that Mr. Joseph likes the chocolate after 6 months? Because if you eat every day a piece of chocolate, you will say, what can I do to make him like it? The first day, I give him the piece of chocolate. The second day, I take a red paper and wrap it in the red paper and say, the next day, I give him a yellow, a golden, a silver, one with a little elephant on it. I make it interesting for him. So I give him the same present every day, but every day it looks different. In the end of the day, when he eats the piece of chocolate, it still tastes the same, but in his mind will tell him, wow, this day it was such a nice paper. He will not realize it. Meaning, as a coach, you do exactly the same thing. You take your exercises, the ones which are important, and you wrap it in a different paper, meaning you present them in a different way. Okay, need to be acknowledged. If I'm always ignoring a player, let's say we tried yesterday that we're picking sometimes different people out to do something. If I'm picking over the whole week, always the same guys or girls, and I don't pick 3 or 4 people, maybe you will say, luckily I didn't have to go there, but in the end of the day, that's not why we're here. So you need to feel that the coach, for example, acknowledges you, okay? Meaning that he treats you the same way as he treats the others. So let's say if I always pick him because he's a very good player, then it's not fair. I need to pick everybody and give him the same chance, but also give him the same acknowledgement. Because it's important for a player to know that I need. Okay, I mean, what's just an example? The need to play, okay? It's nice to do things like shooting, passing, dribbling. At the end of the day, every Saturday you're playing a football game, and the scores and everything is important. So we need to play, not just practice, because it makes, again, it kind of like creates an atmosphere that we want to win. So the role of playing. Every child wants to play. Who have children? Anybody with children? Your children want to play, right? They're playing with a car, they're playing with a ball, they're playing with anything. And the same is with adults. You want to play. So, very important, not just for the kids, as well for the adults. Need to socialize. We said it yesterday, if the players standing there like in Myanmar, like soldiers, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is not socializing. You need to have fun. And yesterday when we warmed up, everybody was a little bit of laughing. So, need to socialize, you need to have fun with each other. You know? Even if it's strict, even if it's a game, even if it's a profession, you still need to have the possibility to socialize. After training, you sit together, you talk about this, you talk about that. That's very important. You need to move. That simply counts for children. Otherwise, if you're having the kids playing PlayStation, getting too fat, about professional players, they're moving anywhere. Okay. When I played in Wimbledon, my former coach was Terry Burton, was assistant, chauh. Who remember chauh? Newcastle, Wimbledon. Who remembers him? You do, yeah? Chauh. Big, strong guy from Ireland. He was a very social guy. He was funny. He had a good relationship to the players. Then they sold me to Nottingham Forest, and the coach was a guy called Frank Clark. He won the European Cup 2 times, he played for England. He was a very famous player and a big man in this city. But he was, how do I say it in a nice way? He was a real asshole. That's already in a nice way. He was a bad person. He didn't give me anything of that. The only thing he said to me was, go, train, do this, you are shit, do that. He never ever followed anything. So I never liked him. He didn't like me, I never liked him. It's a normal, it happens sometimes. But he was a horrible coach. What happened? He coached Nottingham 3 years. He moved to Manchester City. After 1 year, he got fired. And since that day, he never coached the team again. Because people talk, and he just was not good enough. Now he's a committee member in Nottingham Forest. He's still a big man, but he's a horrible coach. As a coach, things what you should know, and things what you should do, your tasks, your objectives. Okay, the basic knowledge of first aid and safety. So I mean, if you're going out to a field, and there is lots of glass, for example, broken glass or stones lying around, do you want your players to play them? No. First aid, if a player breaks his leg, if a player gets badly injured, what is the basic knowledge? You need to have the basic knowledge what to do, how to act. Who knows a little bit about first aid? 2, 3. But let's say somebody gets badly knocked down, is unconscious, swallows his tongue, like lies down. Would you be able to help him? Or would you say like, ah? It is something which I wouldn't say is important to be a good coach, but it's important to be a complete coach. Big difference. Complete coach, good coach. What is a good coach? I'll give you one example. European Cup 2004. Who won it? The specialist in the back. Euro Cup 2004. Who won it?
Greece.
Greece. Is Greece a big footballing country? Why did they win? They had Otto Rehhagel, former coach of Werder Bremen, Bayern Munich. Otto Rehhagel is a very old-fashioned coach. And the only thing he looked for was tactical discipline. So he picked his players, like Bobby Houghton, by height. He wanted big, strong players. So he had a big back four, he had two big strikers, and he had a flat midfield, which were fighting players and two fast wingers. The only thing he did was trying to defend, and whenever there were set pieces, free kicks, corner kicks, they were dangerous. The results was 1-0, 1-0, 0-0, 1-0, final against Portugal, 1-0. He is the ultimate example how ugly football, very ugly football, becomes successful football. Is he a good coach? Yes, because he's successful. But would he be a good coach when it comes to training and stuff like that? Not really. His training is boring as hell. I trained with him for a week when he was at Bayern Munich. You're falling asleep. You do every day the same things. It's just, he only works on tactical issues and he makes the players run. That's it. So all the players are fit and all the players know what to do. So he would say, okay, you are my left back. I want you to do this, this, and this. You are my central midfielder. I want you to do this, this, and this. You are my striker. You move there, you do this, you do that. That's the only thing he trains. And the players follow that for 90 minutes. If he would coach AC Milan or Real Madrid, after 10 days the players would say, that one, I'm going home. He would never, ever, he could not deal with stars. He needed a team which he is, basically, he said it openly in Greece, I don't have a star player, the coach is the star. That was his attitude. So, was he a good coach? We would say, no. But the world says, yes, because he was successful. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, so the clear instructions is important. Also the way you speak as a coach. I think that is one of the things which really, really, I believe, you need to, all of you need to learn. Because I think you're too nice and too shy. I think he, because he's also a policeman, I think he can be tough. I think he will tell you, you do it this way, finish. He can do it. He can do it as well. I think they're okay to speak in front of a big group. But you need to work on that confidence level to say, not, well, maybe we should do it. You do that. You have to tell them, no, maybe we do it this way, your way. So I think there is something, the clear instructions, the clear language, the confidence you need to work on. And that's why I always take a person and take him onto the group on the field, and you need to say it. You understand why we're doing that? I want you to speak in front of the group. Guide the youngest and serve as an example. Okay, do you think it's good if you're sitting on the coaching players, adults, kids, whatever, and you're smoking a cigarette on the stand? You think it's good? If your players see you smoking, or your players see you swearing, or your players see you whatever, not drinking. Do you think it is good if they see the coach living a bad behavior? You know, you need to be an example. You need to be a role model. Like, is Wayne Rooney a role model? For example, would you like your child to become like Wayne Rooney? Well, definitely not, right? Would you like your child to become like John Terry? No. Would you like your child to become like David Beckham? Yes. I think David Beckham never had any big scandals, but other players having scandals. What other player is a typical role model? Somebody you say you're really looking up to, not just because he's a good player, but also he's a great person. Who, just give me a famous player. Like he, for example, is a typical role model because he never complains. When he gets fouled, he stands up like this and he walks again. Is Cristiano Ronaldo a role model? Or no? Yes or no? No. Well, if you like pretty boys, yes, he is. But he has a little bit of an arrogant way of presenting himself. But I would say if a young boy wants to be like him, it's not the worst thing. I think you need to watch out for people who are involved in drinking, scandals, racism, bad language, fighting on the field. These are things which are bad. It is important to listen to youngsters or to players, but I always have one rule. Let's say if you would be my team, okay, I would coach you. We're playing in the Mizoram Premier League and all of you are my players. And I'm doing an exercise or something, or I'm analyzing a game. And then one of you has a different opinion. Now, I would like that you tell me what you think I did wrong. But I do not want you to embarrass me in front of the group. What is the solution? I'll give you an example of that as well. I always give you examples. In my club, who remembers Markus Babbel from Liverpool? German national player. Plays for Bayern München, Blackburn, central defender. He played together with me in the German youth national team and we played together in the youth team of Bayern Munich. Now, unfortunately, he's my boss in Hoffenheim. Like he's the head, I'm like below him. Because we know each other since we are kids, so we know each other very well, I talk with him like I talk with a very close friend. But we agreed when he signed, I will never, he knows that I always challenge him because I don't think he's good. And he knows that. So he knows that I would challenge him. But we agreed on the first meeting, whenever I something I don't like, I will not tell you in a group, I will tell you one-on-one. So whenever he says something, I think it happens basically every day, that I say, can I have a word with you? But he sends everybody out, and I tell him. We never agree. We always argue. We never agree, but at least I keep the respect. So the other people don't know what I'm saying, so that's fine. In the end of the day, me and him having a conversation which stays between him and me. But publicly, or in front of the other team members, I will never say, you know, I don't think you're right. It needs to be on a private basis. Understand? Same as when the head coach and the assistant coach start to argue on the football field. You see it sometimes that in a training session, the assistant says something, and then the head coach comes and says like, what are you doing? That's not right. You shouldn't do that, because you straight away kill the authority of the assistant coach. The other way around, it's even worse. Like let's say I'm doing a tactical exercise, and he will come to me tomorrow and says like, loud, what are you doing? That's wrong. You would start to think, what are these two clowns doing there? You know, well, that's the way it is. So if he would have a problem with something I do, he would come to me and he would talk to me like this, and then I would say, oh yes, you're right, or no, you're not right. So I think that's important. Why is Mr. Joseph training so bad? He's not. Is he going out and drinks at night? Is he not sleeping well? Why is his performance going down? If I'm in touch with the family and I know, for example, his family tells me that, you know, at the moment there's like the child is sick and he has other things on his mind, personal, than just football right now. And I, as a coach, can react on that. If he's one of my top players, I have to comfort him and say, don't worry, you'll be okay, you still will play, you're going a little bit easy. So these things are important. You need to know what is happening in the surrounding. We had a player, do you remember Paul Merson from Arsenal? One of the top England players. Nobody knew for a long time that he was drinking, gambling, and taking cocaine. People were wondering, why is he always so tired in training? Oh, they were wondering and wondering and wondering, but it took a long time to find out. If the coach would have been in touch with Paul Merson's wife, and would have spoken, why is the guy always looking like he's half asleep? They would have figured out 6 months, 8 months earlier, and they could have put him to treatment. It only came out once the newspaper started to write about it, and then people were wondering, well, why didn't the club know? If you have somebody who has acute bad problems, sick or whatever, as a coach, you normally have to see it. If you're in touch with the family, you can go down and figure out why, what can I do to make it better, how do I have to react, what's the solution. If I see that a player is completely disturbed because, let's say, his mother died, well, then I'd say, hey, you don't train for a few days, stay at home with your family, it's not a problem. I need to help the player to prevent, but also to solve personal issues. And that is very good to be in contact with the family, so I know what's happening. With children, it could be problems in school, for example. I mean, 1,000 things. So, but there is something which is very important that you know in what mental state your player is. Role model, we already explained. If I'm telling you, players, I don't want you to smoke. I don't want you to drink alcohol. That is very, very important. And the next day, they see you smoking. Then there is no consistency between your words and your action. Meaning, you do what you preach. It's a very good example when it comes to religion. If you go into church and the priest is telling you how he would like you to behave to follow the religion, and he does exactly the opposite, your mind is getting confused because you don't know anymore what is right and what is wrong. Do you understand? So you need to be able, if you're a role model, be consistent. What you preach, you also need to do. Important, at professional level, does it always work to give praise and encouragement or not? If you have a player, for example, I give you, let me, at top professional level, you're having some players which are having attitude problems, where sometimes it depends on the individuals. Some people, to get a professional level, I always want to get the best out of Mr. Joseph. I always want him to be the best. I need to say like, well done, well done. That makes him get the best out of him. Other individuals, they need to have a kick in the ass. That's also possible. So if you work at professional level, if you look at Alex Ferguson, usually you see him standing there chewing gum. I mean, I don't know how many he chews a day, but quite a lot. Normally, you don't see him screaming much at players. But if you watch carefully, at some players, he's always onto them. Because he always criticizes and always gets onto, for example, Rio Ferdinand. Rio Ferdinand is a typical laid-back English guy which has lots of money, and he's more busy right now about doing the stuff with John Terry, writing on Twitter, he's a racist or whatever. He's too big for his own shoes. He needs a kick in the ass to get the best out of you. If you say to Rio Ferdinand, you are good, you know what he would answer you? Oh yes, I know. That would be his answer. He's a player you need to push. Some people you need to touch and say well done, others you need to push to get the best out of it. So that is psychology in football. You need to know, you need to analyze every individual. Like in your case, for example, like all of you who's sitting there, I think Mr. Joseph, I think I could kick him sometimes in the ass, he still would react well. Most of you, I think, would feel offended by me. Because you are very quiet and very nice. So if I keep on pushing you all the time, you would say, I don't like the coach. You know, like it depends on that. It depends on every individual personality. What I can do to a player to get the best out of it. You should come with a smile, and you should go home with a smile. If you leave in the training and you say, shit, what shit do we do today again? If you go home like that, your fun, your enjoyment, your motivation will go down. So, to keep the spirits up, it's my job as a coach to make you feel that we had a nice session, a successful session, and the next time when you come back, you feel the same. That means the motivational level goes up. And I have a big chance to improve. Limited. If I always stop, let's say we're playing a game, and I stop every 2 minutes, stop, then this is wrong, stop, this is wrong. It's also, I need to sometimes let the game go, because the fluency of the match is important. Sometimes you say, also in English Premier League, the referee was cutting the game. That means every single foul, he stops. That kills the fluency of the game, the level of the game, or the quality of the game will be very messy. A confused game of football, because the fluency of the game is missing. Same thing, if you keep on stopping games in training too much, the quality will go down. It will be a disaster. So you need to keep the fluency going. Constant shouting and behaving aggressively. If you're standing on the touchline, and the whole time like the whole time and screaming and shouting and being aggressive, not good. The main motivation, why they're here, why you're having a team is, they are here to play football. Okay? So, in the end of the day, whatever you say, whatever you read in the newspapers, football is a game. And do we take it serious? Yes, we do. But there is more important things than football in this world. Monitor players who are injured. There is some players who are very motivated. Then suddenly you see one guy like running like that. He doesn't want to go off. You take him off. You say, Felix, come on. Why, coach? You're injured. Okay, thank you. Okay? Very important. You monitor the game and you see if there is problem. Sometimes you have people getting a heart condition. They are having a collapsing. Before that happens, you normally can see. If it doesn't happen that often that somebody goes from 0 to 100 and collapses, he normally gets, before you see, he starts to sweat, he gets tired. You see that, you take him off. Okay. Play within age categories. Question, easy question. I have 11 children which are 6 years old, and I have 11 people which are 12 years old. Do I let them play against each other? On a big game? Yes or no?
No.
Why not?
Because the gap is too much.
Difference is too big. They are physically much more advanced. The small ones will get hurt. We don't know. So it always has. It's nothing wrong if an 8-year-old plays with a 10-year-old, but we can't have the difference too big. Okay. Very important when you're having a player or a child. You know, I mean, it happens that people having illnesses, but they still want to play football. And he says, youths prefer to be stimulated instead of being instructed. Very nice sentence. If you have young players, and you always tell them, you do this, you do this, you do this. That's not a stimulation, it is an order, an instruction. If you manage to stimulate them and kind of like tickle them to get the best out, then you will have a higher level.